2XKO is an upcoming tag team fighting game that takes place in the vast world of Runeterra. It's come a long way since its first announcement, and the final closed beta is right around the corner. So today on Game Rant, let's go back in time to talk about how this title evolved over the years. The story of 2XKO begins with a studio named Radiant Entertainment. It was founded by twin brothers Tom and Tony Cannon, the creators of EVO, the biggest fighting game event in the world. In July 2015, they announced their first fighting game, Rising Thunder. Its goal was to lower the barrier of entry for people new to fighting games by making the controls easier to learn. Instead of doing motion inputs to launch command attacks, you could simply press the direction along with one of the attack buttons. This would allow players to focus more on strategy and movement rather than worrying about nailing their inputs. Unfortunately, this game got cancelled once Radiant was acquired by Riot in 2016. But its spirit didn't die. We knew the team at Radiant was working on something over at Riot, but we didn't know what. Then finally, after 3 years of silence, we were given a small look at this mystery project. During EVO 2019, Tom Cannon announced that the Radiant team was working on a fighting game for Riot. We got some short gameplay clips featuring Darius, Ahri, Katarina, and Jinx. But the look of the game at this point was very different from how it looks now. For one, the character models look less dynamic. It also seemed like it was a one-on-one fighter instead of a tag fighter. Along with that, the project had a completely different name, Project L. Though this reveal was short, the FGC was hype as ever. The guys who created EVO were making a fighting game with League of Legends characters? Take my money. However, we wouldn't hear more news about it until 2 years later, in 2021. This time we were hit with a YouTube video showcasing the massive amount of changes the game underwent. The most obvious one was the look. This preview showed us the aesthetic we know and love now. Along with that, it revealed that this game will be a 2v2 tag fighter. When it comes to the mechanics, they kept the same mindset they did with Rising Thunder, and stuck with simple directional inputs. This way, more fans could enjoy the fun of nailing wild combos. Speaking of combos, this preview showed off a few from Echo, Darius, Jinx, and Ahri, and they looked incredible. Seeing the game in motion made everything feel all the more real, and the FGC was loving it. The best part was that they dropped this video around the same time the League of Legends animated series Arcane was taking the world by storm. Folks who never even heard of League were starting to fall in love with the cast thanks to this amazing show. So when they saw this game that adapted its aesthetic, it piqued their interest. But just like last time, this announcement was followed by another long hiatus. The next two updates came in 2022, and mostly focused on giving a deep dive into the core systems of the game. The biggest reveals were that it was going to be free to play, and that Alawi, the Kraken Priestess, would be joining the roster. But at this point, she was still being worked on. 2023, however, had a lot more exciting updates. One of the biggest was the reveal that 2 players could play on one team, so you could do 2v2 or even 2v1 matches. They also introduced the fuse mechanic. This feature allows you to change how you interact with your tag partner in battle. The announcement that got folks most excited though was the reveal of Yasuo, the complex stance-based fighter. And what made this all even better was that the team also announced that fans could play the game at EVO 2023. Yasuo, Darius, Echo, and Ahri would be the only 4 characters available. Folks who got to enjoy this demo loved it. It was praised for being easy to pick up and for its fun factor. Fans at home got to see hours upon hours of gameplay from EVO and other creators, and this just added to the immense tower of hype. In 2024, the team shifted gears. It was time to start making things more polished. To initiate this shift, they revealed the official name for the game, 2XKO. This was one of their most divisive choices, as many were not a fan of the change. Some even wanted it to go back to Project L. Regardless, with the new name, they began popping up at more events to give more folks a chance to play it. They used this time to get feedback directly from the community, which is always a smart move. Later in 2024, they announced the Alpha Lab playtest, which allowed folks from home to try it out. As someone who got to play it myself, I gotta say, it truly lived up to the hype. It was extremely fun and just as chaotic as your average League of Legends match. My favorite characters from it were Echo and Darius. I loved how mobile Echo was, and his timey-wimey antics made him feel so cool. On the other hand, Darius just made me feel like an unstoppable powerhouse. With this online playtest, the team collected even more information from the fanbase to improve the game. Then they went silent again. In 2025, Riot hit us with a second Alpha Lab, which included a multitude of balance changes. However, unlike the last one, the impressions of this alpha were mixed, with some even calling the game too defensive. Along with that, players were getting antsy. 2XKO was in development since 2019, yet there was no clear release date. The alphas were appreciated, but the FGC was dying to play this game without worrying about it going offline. Luckily, Riot finally answered our prayers. On July 22nd, 2025, they announced that the final closed beta will launch on September 9th for PCs. However, this will serve as more of a soft launch, as the game will be online forever after this. It'll slowly become available for more people as time goes on. The roster will include Darius, Echo, Ahri, Alawi, Yasuo, Braum, Jinx, and the 2 most recently announced characters, Vi and Blitzcrank. Now this is great news, but there are still some mixed feelings about the game, primarily about the starting roster. Even though it's free to play, it's pretty small. Fans expected more with the immense amount of champions to choose from in League of Legends. Additionally, 2xKO has gained some competition from other upcoming tag fighters, such as Marvel Tokon and Invincible Versus. Some fans are thinking of waiting to devote their time to one of those. But personally, I think the starting roster is just fine. In fact, I think this game's rollout is going to be spectacular. As a free-to-play game, you won't have access to the whole roster once you go online. But the game will also include offline play, which gives you access to everyone, so you can test characters out before you purchase them. On top of that, the team will be adding more characters along the way. So this small roster is only temporary. This gives new players a chance to try everyone out before the character selection screen gets saturated with more champs. Another thing to note is the attitude of the devs. Over the years, they've proven that they care deeply about the fanbase's opinion. It gives me hope that they will continue to improve this game for the better as time goes on. Overall, 2xKO is still one of the upcoming titles I am most excited for. With impressive visuals, reliable rollback netcode for online matches, and an IP as cool as League of Legends, I can see this title going very far. But let us know what you think about 2xKO's journey below. Until next time, thanks for watching and happy gaming.